This is the new Procon headquarters. It officially opened in 2023 and is located just a few miles from DC in Tyson's Corner. It's got cozy co-working spaces, private offices, room to entertain, and even a dedicated production studio. But that's not how it's always been. This is what our office used to look like. Sterile, gray, full of cubicles. And more importantly, unused for the better part of 3 years. So in this series, we're going to take you behind the scenes of how we went from this, to this, to this. But first, let's start with why.
Well, our lease was running out, that's for sure. And so
Right.
we already made the decision that we were not going to stay at our current place for several reasons.
I think the open office concept grew outdated is what really happened. More of our employees were able to do remote work at their client project, but they're on a video call in their desk in an open cube with someone sitting right across from them. No one really wanted to work there. If they were going to have any kind of meaningful call, it's open for everyone to hear and participate, and that's really shouldn't be on a client type of call in particular.
Yeah.
So we sort of needed more private office space, more huddle room space, so that we could have the virtual experience, and the outdated workspace just wasn't cutting it. I think it happened slightly before the pandemic, really. This shift to more remote work, and more remote work was acceptable. So I think it was beginning to change, and certainly COVID
was a huge catalyst.
Forced us all to reconsider what is work and what is a workspace. And
the moment we moved into our new space, we quickly outgrew that space.
Well, the old office was a two-part build-out, right? We did the original build-out was in 2010. And so in 2010, our needs were, we were growing firm, we needed a space, we needed quickly get out of our old building. And so I think it fit the needs for us in 2010.
But when we did do the phase 2 of our build-out, the second half of our office space, we did kind of keep it the same look, the same office style. And I think part of it though, Mark, we were naive. We didn't really know. We were two business owners getting a office space for the first time. It's like anything else. You just kind of go with the flow, and you don't know what you don't know, and you learn. So definitely the second time around, we're like, nope, we're not doing that. Nope, we're not. Yes, we're going to do this. And so we had a whole laundry list of things we wanted to correct the second time around.
Right.
And part of that obviously was the pandemic and all the new things that we wanted to experiment with.
Right, and I think we should admit that going into this project it is an experiment. We don't know. We hope in the investment here in this office is going to get people more time in the office. We think that's probably the biggest downside with remote work, is not having the physical one-on-one connection with our employees that we feel like we might have had in the past.
We did wonder, do we even need an office? We proved that we could operate a company effectively during the first year of the pandemic. We knew one thing for sure, that it wasn't going to go back, particularly those people that could work remotely. They were not going to go back to the old days. And so we were like, well, that makes a lot of sense, but what does this new world look like? And so we had a lot of discussions on that. But we also, I think, knew that there was a time clock. At some point, this was going to wear thin. So we were like, well, we do need to make a decision. And we just decided that we needed a physical place. We had multiple options at the very beginning. We were like, we could just take over a space that was already built out. It's plug and play. It would be almost minimal investment, and we can do it. Or we can actually embrace this new work sort of paradigm and kind of see and build a facility around what we believe the future might be. And we went back and forth. I'm not going to say that we totally dismissed the first option. Then it reminded us of our existing cube workstation places.
Right.
We're like, this is not the way the future is going to be.
As the neighborhoods from Boston to DC go up, the rates went up. So I think that we were trying to stay within a certain price per square foot, rentable square foot. But the key with that office was it was convenient. It was on the Orange Line metros. I think that was the big rationale for why Boston was chosen versus other office sites that we looked at back then in 2010. So I think that this is sort of on that fringe within reason. People can get here without traveling too far, and I think that that's why this entered into the equation.
Yeah, it could be just Mark having had Arlington for the last 10 plus years, him just like saying, okay, it's my turn to kind of compromise a little.
The 1 mile bike ride got really old, so now I need to have a 10-mile bike ride. Yes.
I think this was a happy compromise.
When we started canvassing, we looked at spaces that were adjacent or in the same vicinity, and I think we quickly realized that the portfolio of options in Boston were very limited in amenities in particular. When we do congregate, when we do have these employees come to the office, those infrequent 3 training events or multi-day retreat, we need a larger space. And so why are we paying for a big empty conference room down the hall? Other landlords were offering amenity space like on a first floor like this building that could accommodate our larger groups. And so this neighborhood gave us that option of having the sort of multi-use beyond just our footprint of our office.
Yeah.
So I think that was key.
I spared you the trouble of going to every single one of those buildings, but I got to tour maybe 5 buildings or more in each location. And so we had to make a decision because our lease was running up and we knew that we were up against some time. And I think you were sold when you cut up here, it was empty. The views were spectacular. The amenity space and maybe the golf simulator.
Right, and there's just something about our view. The first time we cut it off the elevator and we look out and we see this portfolio view of the Tyson's area all the way into Arlington. Actually, it's just there's something unique about this space.
Yeah.
That the feel.
It feels good, and so we're like, this is where we want to go.
There is some uncertainty with the length of our lease, though, that we don't know what we don't know, and so again, the 2010 Procon moving into that Glebe space certainly changed in 2020 when we realized that some of those decisions weren't great. Well, the same thing could be said here with 2023 moving date and looking down the road. What does 2030 plus hold for us? We don't know. So I think we're trying to make educated guess, and certainly with the immediate horizon of what do employees need today, and that was a lot of decision making was about that.
Well, we didn't want to be lukewarm, go in there sort of unsure. So after you and I had a lot of deliberations and discussions, we went in all in. Like we were like, this is the direction we want to go, and we weren't going to cut any corners. We're fully committed, and I think that's what we wanted to do. And I don't know. Future will only tell like whether we made the right decision.
We will be judged.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we want to do our own thing. So we wanted empty. We didn't want something. We didn't want to pay for someone else's customized space and just adopt it because we wanted to have some customization, right? Well, I think walking through JL space was a key selling point. They had really spent a lot of effort building out their space, and I thought that the first impression was great. And so when we saw that and we saw the vanilla canvas that it was this space on the 6th floor, we could sort of translate and say, man, we could have that, our version, the Procon version of that JL space. And I think that's really what sold it for me at least.
And we took a lot of inspiration from there because we noticed that all the designs were very amenity based, very hotel lobby, very hospitality feel.
The coffee shop
The
idea
coffee shop.
came
Well,
around.
I generally work at a coffee shop. So
Right,
I
right.
like working there.
And so we want to incorporate that into what our new design was going to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think also I took you to a lot of these other places when we were searching the office spaces. We wanted, Vanessa was the broker that helped us look for a lot of our spaces, and I asked, hey, could we take a look at what the WeWork space looks like? We definitely did not want to be, I mean, you and I traditionally do not like the status quo. We wanted to be kind of innovative. We want to do things differently. We want to do things not for the sake of doing it. We want to do things to meet other people's needs. And so we definitely took the opportunity to sort of imagine a new office environment.
There was a little leap of faith there on
Yes.
actually not having a bricks and mortar office for some period of time. And so
we
it
did
was
it.
about 3 or 4 months there. But
Yeah.
I think in hindsight, the pandemic had prepared us for that eventuality that we could survive without having space. But we should admit right up front that we don't know what the next 2, 4, or 5 years is going to look like. But I think we wanted to have this place of experimentation and offer enough customization to how someone might want to work. And we don't know, but we certainly hope we provide enough flexibility for different styles of work. Would that be good? We're going to find out.
We don't know, yeah.
We're going to find out.